Gosh, you're weird friends. Are you from Paris? You're from Paris? Close to Paris? Oh my gosh, this is 1902. And in Paris, we don't have many hotels that are 400 homes in Paris.
Made it important that when the Minister of National Security came to Portland, he wanted to talk to us, right? So in other words, Steve wanted to be a part of
$401 compounded at 6% for 106 years. Then have changed. Because the reason then was the natural beauty of Portland.
And guess what? We don't even have to waste our time with it because Mr. Richard has gone through all the different things.
because of the holidays. All we did was move the meeting earlier to December 14th. So you see that this group meets business. We have this meeting every single month. We have not missed a month. Even in December, where everyone assumed there would be no meeting.
Added. Today we have 140,000 homes in Portland alone.
No, put it up so at least it didn't have to
Okay, good morning everyone. Can we have everybody seated? Good morning everyone. Good morning everyone. I wanted to welcome you to our February 2008 meeting. The reason I mentioned February 2008 is very significant because our first meeting was February 2007. Does anybody realize that? How many people are here today were here in that first meeting, February 2007? I think you can define the gap between that number and today's number as significant growth. And I think we should congratulate ourselves for that kind of growth. I would like to, as always, I wanted to open.
Mark, what's
yes.
significant is that the meetings have been consecutive months.
Yes. For those who don't know, we have this meeting every single month. We have not missed a month. Even in December, where everyone assumed there would be no meetings because of the holidays, all we did was move the meeting earlier to December 14th. So you see that this group means business, and we're here to stay, and we're going to do what it takes to make sure that everything works.
Michael, a note about the date today, Ryan. What would we have done if there had not been 29 days in February?
I would have scheduled the meeting for last week. We're still okay. As always, I wanted to start with a quick prayer. I'm going to ask Ms. Piskachek if she could just open for us. I can't do it in my car, but right now.
campaign. And once again, Jesus, thank you all in advance.
One of the things, I know we have our agenda every meeting, but because, as you guys have noticed, there are a couple of new faces in the crowd. One of them is actually the new bank manager for Scotiabank. And I wanted to say a special thank you to him for coming. Only because even though Mr. Leachin's company owns a competition, we just want to make it clear that this project will not succeed unless everyone, every single individual in the community participates. So thank you for coming. We also have some special guests invited by AIC from the IFC, the International Finance Corporation, and apparently we just
So long before Montego Bay was a tourist destination, or the Bahamas, or Antigua, Port Antonio was it. In fact, right up on top of the hill, Titchfield Peninsula, we had a 400-room hotel back in 1902. 400 rooms. So, Catherine, if you are sitting, if you can't come to Port Antonio 400 years ago, this little sleepy town, you said, oh my gosh, you're where in France? Are you from Paris? You're from Paris? Close to Paris? Oh my gosh, this is 1902. And in Paris, we don't have many hotels that are 400 rooms in Paris. Very few in London, very few in New York. But one in Port Antonio back in 1902. You were saying, what's going on here? In fact, you'd say, let me get my calculator out and see how many rooms there will be. They can have 400 rooms now. Let's extrapolate into the future. Today is the 29th of February. To the 29th of February 2008 to see how many rooms these people are going to have in Port Antonio. So you got your HP 12C out. $1 compounded at 6% for 106 years is worth $350. Therefore, $400 will be worth $140,000. Therefore, 400 rooms, if we were stewarding our resources very well. Next year, from 400, we're going to rise 6%. That's 400, that's 24 rooms additional. Following year, 25 rooms. Following year is 26 years added. Today, we have 140,000 rooms in Port Antonio alone. Today, Port Antonio would have sank under the weight of the development. But obviously, that is not the case. So the question is, we know that we should have gone from 400 to 140,000. The question is, how many do we actually have? In other words, what have we done? We know where we should have been. So if we're 50% bad stewards, today we would have 70,000. If we're 90% bad stewards, today we would have 14,000. If we're 99% poor stewards, dunces, we would have 1,400. Ladies and gentlemen, we probably have less than 140 rooms, hotel rooms here in Port Antonio today. So we're less than 99. We're worse than 99.9% poor stewards. Shame on us. So that to me was a motivator, because I said to myself, what if, or what's going to be the situation when my children and grandchildren say to me, Dad, Grandpa, you're part of that decay. You were a bad student and you expect me to go to school and get 90% when you're 99% bad? Huh? You got 0.1%? So, that is the motivator. But what has not changed over the last 100 years, ever since, what has not changed is the fact that Port Antonio, the reason for people coming then haven't changed. Because the reason then was the natural beauty of Port Antonio. The twin harbors of Port Antonio. The background being Blue Mountain and the John Crow Mountain. The fact that Port Antonio is very green. Port Antonio is isolated now from the rest of Jamaica, which is a good thing right now. So that those features, geographical features, have not changed. In fact, it's even better today because 100 years ago, it would have taken me 2 weeks by steamboat to have gotten here. Steamboat, there they are. 2 weeks by steamboat to have gotten here. And 2 weeks to have gotten back to New York. That's 1 month on the high seas. And those ships did not have stabilizers. So you're rocking and rolling right with the waves. So 1 month to come here. Today, it takes 3.5 hours to get to New York, and another 3.5 hours to get from Kingston. Right? But still, that is still 7 hours. Not bad when it's 2 weeks. But help is coming in terms of access. So the point is, if people are coming here then, braving the seas, 2 weeks to get here, things have improved a lot since, but we still have to make it better with the roads, which are coming, and aerodrome. So the potential here is fantastic. We all know that. But it has never been realized. We've had many stops and starts, stops and starts, stops and starts. So about 2.5 years ago, I thought it is difficult for someone who has never really seen what proper tourism development is all about to really design a proper tourist resort or resort area, which is Port Antonio. So about 2.5 years ago, we loaded up the jet with members of the Parish Council. Who was here? Who was here? Members of the Parish Council. And we went to St. Martin, right? We went to St. Martin. We landed in the morning in St. Martin. We drove around St. Martin, looked at St. Martin being a competing island destination, and came back that evening. Then, some time elapsed. Then I had a meeting with the former mayor, and this is how these meetings start. Because the mayor said to me, really, we should invite again the members of the Parish Council to refresh their memory as to why we've gone to St. Martin, so we can rejuvenate the vision. What has happened since? Well, since we needed someone on the ground to really do the block and tackle work every day. Mark, McIntosh, and Melissa decided to uproot themselves from Florida, create a big career in the United States, and the parachuted here to make sure this time the development will be successful. So, this I think is where I should turn it back over to Margaret. You can.
At the last Friday of every month, where we ask everyone to make a commitment to show what you believe needs to happen in order for Port Antonio to be successful. One of the big things that we do in this meeting, of course, is we actually go through homework, where any commitment that was made in the last meeting, you're required to get up and give a progress report on what you did. So I am chomping at the bit to get to homework, because that's the most important part for me. But before I do that, I wanted to ask the mayor to give a welcome to the group.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning to you all. I want to take the opportunity this morning to welcome you all to Port Antonio and Portland at large. I find this meeting and other meetings that we have had very important, in fact, to be extremely significant in light of the fact that Portland has been, for the years, been kept at the back of the queue. The fact that you are here this morning symbolizes to us that you intend to get to the front of the queue. And I say the front of the queue because we have been leading when it comes to crime reduction or a low crime rate in Jamaica. We have been leading in light of the fact that we are an ideal tourist destination, but it means for us now to play our part in ensuring that we remain at the front of the queue. The fact that you're here this morning shows to us at large that you intend to move forward. As your mayor of Port Antonio, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you the assurance that I have my part to play in the leadership role I intend to lead from the front, but guess what? I cannot lead if you are not interested in playing your part and to give the support. Now, in life, individuals can either fail to do something negative, or just remain neutral. That is the worst thing we can do in life. There might be individuals who are wondering, why is AIC group here? Why are we confusing ourselves and getting involved in the whole restoration of Titchfield and the development of Port Antonio right now? But I tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, it is very important. Very, very important, because Port Antonio has the potential. Port Antonio has the potential to take us forward in this new dispensation. But if we sit down and don't play our part, then we are going to be left behind. I know we have the potential here. We have bright people, we have brilliant minds. And guess what? We don't even have to waste our time to think, because Mr. Leachin has gone through all the thinking for us. Mark McIntosh is here to do the work for us. So all we have to do is to play our part and to give the support. It is nothing hard for us to get up and say, look, let me go out there, let me talk to somebody who knows something about development of Port Antonio, and every single person can play a part. Even the man on the corner, even the farmer in the hills. Everybody has a part to play. But if we sit down, relax, and play that neutral role, we'll not get anywhere. You're here this morning, and I'm hoping that you intend to share in this vision of Mr. Leachin, because it is not often that we get such an opportunity to step out in life and show what we are made of. The opportunity is here, and if we wait, we are going to be left behind. Let us not step back to the year 1902. Let us move forward with the year 1902 in mind, so that we can have a base from which to launch, because guess what? I don't intend to step back in life, I intend to move forward. And I need you all to move with me in Port Antonio to make this vision be a reality. Thank you for coming on, ladies and gentlemen, and I look forward to serving you as your mayor of Port Antonio.
What you heard from Mr. Leachin was the genesis of the idea of why we're here. Now, how do you actually make this happen? Well, I've spent countless hours in the library, in the Jamaican National, in the National Library in Jamaica, and in Tom Redmond, every library, Port Antonio Library, trying to understand why do we have these fits and starts, right? If you talk to any Portlander, they'll say, well, there's always a project to save Port Antonio, right? Why is this one any different? So I went in, I read all the newspaper articles, and I tried to figure out what can make us different. And it came down to two words. One, passion, and two, commitment. Here's the passion and the commitment. Here's some more passion and commitment. And what we do is make sure that every day we're living up to those standards. Now, doing that is not enough. The other thing I realized, however, was that every project was an overpromise to save the entire parish in one go. And what we realized, just like everything else I've done in my past life, sometimes you have to crawl before you can walk. We said, you know what? We're going to pick one area in Port Antonio that we're going to focus all our energy and time on to make sure that we can achieve success in that area. And it's only when we have achieved success in that area and taken all the learnings that you can from the obstacles that you had to cross, that you can then claim to be a savior for Port Antonio. And we decided to choose Titchfield Hill. For those who don't know, it's a community above us. It was one of the first settled communities in Portland from 1723. Titchfield Hill, as a result, has some of the most amazing examples of Jamaican, Georgian, Victorian architecture in the island, and some would argue in the Caribbean. Now, after 200 years, 100 of those being years of neglect, the homes don't look the way they should look. The roads don't look the way they should look. The street lights, the utilities don't look the way they should look. So we agreed as a group that we are going to use Titchfield Hill as the way forward. We're going to learn all the lessons we can from Titchfield and move forward. Now, what does that mean? That means we need the parish council support. We need the utility company support. We need the water commission support. We need investor support, all the help that we can get. However, we also needed some other support from the Jamaican National Heritage Trust, which designated Titchfield Hill in 1998 a National Heritage Site. So we have a lot of things going for us on Titchfield Hill. But what's missing? We don't own all the houses on Titchfield Hill. It's not possible, feasible, or it doesn't make any sense to think that you can get a renovation of a community just by standing and asking for it to be done. We realized very quickly that the homeowners and residents of Titchfield Hill had to be 120% involved in this project. And as quickly as we realized that, that's the same as we started including them, involving them in these meetings. We held a big meeting at Titchfield High School where we asked homeowners to let us know what their thoughts were. We shared with them the goals of the project, and we asked them what their thoughts were. That was the genesis of a whole second association. So for those who don't know, in addition to these monthly meetings every Friday, I also attend 2 homeowner association meetings every month on Titchfield Hill. And through that work, that's where the rubber actually meets the road. Because it is in those meetings that we really understand how to motivate people, how to use people's energy to achieve brilliant and relatively large goals. So I would love for the members of the Homeowners Association and Citizens Association, if you're here, if you could just stand up so we could show what you've been able to accomplish in a short time. Now understand this. This is just a sampling of the homeowners and residents of Titchfield Hill. It's Friday. There are some people who couldn't be here. So you can imagine if this many people can make the effort to be here, just how much passion and energy there is on Titchfield Hill. With that, I wanted to get into the homework, which is the most important part of this meeting. At the last meeting, as with all meetings, we have given people things that they have to do. The first person would be the Parish Council. If we can get an update on your homework. I know you probably have some updates on the first one, which is the roads.
Ladies and gentlemen, where the Parish Council homework is concerned, to date, we have commenced work on the Titchfield Hill. We are trying to do some road repairs from the building, is it Farming Building, up to the crest and about to the Titchfield High School gate. We want to take it in parts. Please understand that it takes quite a bit of money to do road repair. I intend to spend approximately, can I disclose? Yes, you can. $400,000 in this first phase. Bearing in mind that we get a tiny sum of money, but I've taken the decision to spend $400,000 there to commence this road repair program. I must ask the indulgence of the homeowners on the Titchfield Hill. We have gone ahead and we have dug up quite a bit of the road, but you must understand that in order to effect repair, we have to clear away and to lay some marl, and then from there we can put the necessary asphalting on top. I'm going to ask you to be patient with us. We intend to complete that as early as possible, say next week. It would have been done already had it not been for the rain that we had a couple of days ago. And secondly, the material, the process to get the material, we have to complete the paperwork, or my auditor will not be easy on me. So we have to complete the proper paperwork. So to date, we have to ensure that, that is done. We intend to have it finished by as early as next week. The second phase, which will be the streets leading from the main road. That main road that goes up on top of the hill there. If you can imagine the finger-like projection that goes into all those areas. We intend to do some work there. Please understand that we don't intend to spend a lot of money to do what we call the Barber Green, because sooner or later the road is all going to be dug up and all that. We don't want to can I loosely use the word waste the taxpayers' money. So we just do a temporary thing now, and later on we'll ensure that you have a little more comfortable road, so when you walk there, you feel a little better. I want to also assure you that I have sent memos to the councillors to invite them to attend as many, if not all, the meetings here. So you will see attendance from the Parish Council. I have made it absolutely clear to the Parish Council that we will not sit in the middle, be neutral. We'll ensure that whatever it takes to support this project, providing it is legally possible, it will be done. Because let it not be said that the Parish Council did not support and play its part well. So You will be getting the support from the parish council, and I don't know how long I'll be there, but as long as I'm there, you can count on me that the parish council will be 100% behind the whole development.
Thank you. All right, and when we get updates, we don't leave it there. We allow people to ask questions. Homeowners, residents, citizens, Titchfield, that homework sounds to me like what was promised at the last meeting. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any concerns? Or are we okay waiting to see phase 1 of these interim road repairs? Yes?
So far, we have seen the beginnings.
You have seen the beginning, so we will. Thank you.
As long as we ensure that the waste material that is dug up will be removed, because Jamaica has a habit of asphalting and then walk away from the waste that they...
Well, the work is not complete until the paperwork is done.
Okay.
We'll ensure that it is removed from the site. The water commission will be doing some digging up, just as before you get up to the crest of the hill there. There are 2 broken pipes there. I've spoken to water commission, and they will be effective repair very soon. So it is my duty to ensure that the job is completed.
All right. Another group that's absolutely essential to the success of this program is the Chamber of Commerce. We explain to everyone that though Titchfield Hill is a separate neighborhood, yes.
I know it's on the agenda, the mark,
Yeah.
homework agenda. Start to address violations on Titchfield Hill.
Yeah.
Are there violations?
Yeah, I can actually speak to that. Because Titchfield Hill is a National Heritage District, there are particular processes that homeowners have to go through in order to effect modifications to their building. These modifications have to be approved by the Jamaican National Heritage Trust, and as a result of our activity here, the Jamaican National Heritage Trust has been awoken to what's happening in Titchfield Hill. And as a result, the Parish Council has received some calls in the past 2 weeks from the Jamaican National Heritage Trust asking them to address immediately the violations that are happening in Titchfield Hill. I will say this, the Parish Council compliance officers, there are not enough compliance officers to constantly police Titchfield Hill. But with our help, with our participation, all we have to do is keep an eye out for what's happening in our own community and make the calls. And Mr. Mayor, you'll tell me what you'll do with those calls.
Yes, we understand that, in fact, today we will be having the graduation ceremony for the municipal police. So you should be seeing more of the parish council moving around Portland to ensure that the illegal vending, is minimized. Also, as it relates to the building code, our people are out there to ensure that whatever building goes up conforms to the regulation. So enforcement of whatever regulation, it's going to take a little time for you to see the major change, but we are very much aware of those.
Right, but as we made clear, as we made clear, as I made clear, and as the Jamaican National Heritage Trust is making clear, yes, it takes time to get these things done, but what happens is you miss opportunities. You lose great examples of historical architecture. We've lost at least one structure in the past few weeks, and we've also seen modifications. We've lost one structure in the past few weeks, and we've also seen additional modifications that no doubt would not have been approved by the Jamaican National Heritage Trust. So in this particular situation where Titchfield Hill is so important, so sensitive, and it's so important to protect our heritage, it's one of those things that requires extra urgency to make sure that we don't lose the architecture that we're trying to protect.
Now, may we be reminded that there is a Portland Heritage Committee in existence. Maybe you can make an effort to revive that. So in addition to the Parish Council monitoring what's going on, that Heritage Committee that is trained and informed and educated by the Jamaican Heritage Trust normally could play a role in the monitoring of what is happening.
Yes, we've been in touch with them, and we are structuring a program to make sure that while there are not enough compliance officers and enough Heritage Trust compliance officers, as many eyes as possible are paying attention to what happens in Titchfield.
Portland Heritage
Yes.
Committee.
Can I ask the Chamber of Commerce to give an update? And just for a bit of background for those who don't know, Titchfield Hill, part of Port Antonio, but again, it would be the genesis of the tremendous growth. Combine Titchfield Hill's success with honestly, all the work that Mr. Leachin is already doing, courthouse, I like to say courthouse, Trident, Blue Lagoon. When you imagine all the work that's being done, plus Titchfield here, the people who stand to benefit the most in the near term are the business owners and the business community when we start seeing increased traffic to Port Antonio. So we have been asking, pulling, begging the business owners to participate. And the Chamber of Commerce has led that charge. Can I ask the President of the Chamber of Commerce to give an update on Homeowners?
4 things that we were supposed to do. I think the Chamber left off one. The first one is the FAQ, frequently asked questions, and those questions we're going to seek to inform persons about why they should participate, become a part of the team in respect of the Titchfield Hill. The Chamber does not equivocate. We support Titchfield Hill. We think, as Mark said, it is going to be the first island of excellence that Port Antonio is going to create, and hopefully the ripples from Titchfield Hill will engulf the rest of the parish, and all of us will participate. But to speak to the bingo, what we've done is try to fast track in terms of our fundraising. We are going to start a series of fundraising events starting the 3rd week in March, and I'm pleased to announce that the Chamber expects to contribute initially $100,000 to the Titchfield Hill Development Fund, and we expect to contribute that long before the project has even started. So those series of events will start sometime in March, and that will be our contribution. In terms of chasing down the existing pledges to turn them into actual deposits, I just got an idea that it appears to me that a number of persons here, I've not seen them at RBTT and I'm not marketing despite the badge here, in terms of putting their deposits into the bank. It therefore means that what I'm going to have to do perhaps at the next meeting is place everybody on the spot by coming around with the collection plates, and so you may bring your checks or you may bring cash, we'll receipt for them so you can make your contribution. After all, when you don't come to the bank will always come to you. So I expect to see that the audience will not diminish in size, despite the fact that we are going to collect at the next meeting, and that you'll still come out in your large numbers and make your contribution. The other thing that we were supposed to do was to broaden the outreach efforts to ensure that all members of the business community are invited to join the team. That is still, I think, some work in progress in terms of Mark and myself working on that to have a town meeting where we can get the persons to buy in, because we believe the buying of the persons are very important. Thank you very much, and we hope you continue to support.
So just to summarize then, you're pledging, the Chamber of Commerce is pledging $100,000 additional dollars to the fund. Is that $100,000 from fundraising, or is that just from your own?
No, that is from the fundraising that will commence in March.
Okay, $100,000.
Right.
And then what about targeted strategies on actually getting people who we haven't seen at all involved? Anything immediately on the table?
Well, as I mentioned, it appears to me there's a reluctance perhaps to visit the bank. And the out-of-the-box thing that we want to do now is that we are going to use the opportunity at the next meeting when persons come here and asking them, because a number of persons here without calling names, I perhaps have not seen, or if they've not come to me. So at the next meeting, I'm going to come and ask for those donations. Perhaps go almost to everybody here and just ask them, asking for your pledge today so you can bring along the money at the next time. We'll collect it, we'll receive for it. So we'll run a minute back here the next time.
Okay, so feel free at the end of the meeting to address everyone in here.
Right.
Thank you. Any questions for Chamber of Commerce? All right, let's get to the homeowners and citizens of Titchfield Hill. Let's have an update on your many activities.
We, the homeowners, are passionate about this plan, and we have a monthly meeting, once a month meeting, where Mr. Mark is very active in it, and he helps us to feel comfortable with this development, as well as to allow us to realize our responsibilities as homeowners on Titchfield. Apart from homeowners as well, the tenants have responsibilities. He makes us feel so comfortable Because, you know, with change, people feel a little doubtful. But because of this old program, this new program, and his presence with us, we are very comfortable. Thank you, Mr. In touch. Thank you, Mr. Meeting, as well, for having me here. We have been involved in updating a list of certain ownerships of properties and also tenancies. Because there are tenants on Titchfield. Some of the owners are not here, they are abroad or Kingston or wherever, all across the island. So we were involved in updating this list. We have also...
Well, wait, before we go, let's give credit where credit is due. We have figured out there are about 80 individual addresses on Titchfield Hill, and this group has been working tirelessly and diligently, trying to figure out just who owns some of those empty properties out there. And they're doing it at a very, very good rate, and they've identified about 30, which is very, very significant considering the level of absentee ownership on the hill. And as you can imagine, there's no way to get this project done if we can't get every homeowner or a significant majority of the homeowners involved. So I wanted to thank you publicly for the work you guys have been doing to do that.
We have also invited the policemen to help us to set up a neighborhood watch policing program on Titchfield Hill. We have a meeting with them twice per week, 2 times per week, so that they can take us through the methods of protecting our community and ourselves. So we have been working with them, and I have to commend the police for
a bit of correction. Twice per month, not twice per week. That's correct.
twice per
month.
Twice per month we have been using with the police to take us through the methods of policing protect our security on Titchfield Hill. And we have to commend them for responding so far, because there have been incidents of crime on Titchfield Hill as well as other violations. So they have been responding to us. I can evidence there was this man standing outside of one of our neighbors' premises, and he looked suspicious. He was there for too long, and the police was called in. And of course they came, they responded quickly. The man was innocent after all. But they came. There was another incident where somebody lit a fire, some outsider lit a fire. It engulfed the entire Titchfield Hill. And he was spoken to, and he denied, our efforts to get the fire out. The police was calling, and they came, and in no time the man put the fire out. So these are things that we have been doing, and the police have been responding. And I have to commend the police as well for being so passionate in our efforts. So I have to thank you all for coming and for all Mr. Litchin's been doing for us. Thank you.
Can I just ask you, just in case we haven't heard, what's happening to the squatting situation? The squatters.
Well, the squatters have been taken care of, because I think Port Authority have placed persons in some of the homes to keep them out. Another thing, we have the Neighborhood Watch program that I've been speaking about. It will be launched in May of this year. So because we have to meet with the police over a period of time for them to take us through the methods of protecting the community. We will be having the launch in May of this year at the Demontivin Lodge. Everybody knows the Demontivin Lodge building there that's above the site. And we'll be having a launch there in May of this year. And we'll be also having a fundraising event to support our launch, putting up the signs and so forth. Fundraising event will be held at Dr. Antonio Park over here. And tickets will be issued to everybody here.
I wanted to make one quick comment. This is very important, very significant. The Demontivin Hotel is one of the best examples of heritage architecture in Jamaica, and we can't belittle that. The Demontivin Hotel is on Titchfield Hill, and it actually sparked a lot of interest in the homeowners and residents when we said, where are we going to have the launch for our neighborhood watch? Everybody said the Marina, X Hotel, this hotel, but nothing on Titchfield Hill. And we turned and looked at each other and we said, what are we doing? We're trying to rebuild Titchfield Hill. our event should be at Titchfield Hill. And if we have one of the best examples of architecture in Jamaica, open and willing and able to host our event, why not have it here? I tell you, that was a significant turning point for the homeowners. When they started to realize that the beauty is already here on Titchfield Hill. And we don't need to keep looking outside. It's how do we get ourselves to do more. They immediately went to the owner of the Demont event, asked for permission to have the event there, and it was granted, free of charge. So I really think we should congratulate the homeowners for their efforts. There you are. I'm going to walk on Titchfield Hill just to make sure. In the meantime, to the mayor's comment, I have been doing some of the policing of construction activities, etc. Don't tell anybody. But just walking along and you find members of the homeowners and citizens association working all the time, trying to improve their community. And this hotel, the Demont, it was there all this time, but nobody realized that it should be the central focus of our efforts on Titchfield Hill. So I think that's something I wanted to make sure we made clear. These are pictures I had taken of the parish council work when it was just beginning. As you can see, they've dug up the holes and the plan is to patch them over. We're going to hold them to that and we'll see what happens next week. The police. The police didn't live up to this third one as far as I can tell. Anybody from the police here? Send a representative to monthly meetings. However, to give them full credit, they have done so well in the first two tasks. The police have been at every single meeting discussing the potential for the homeowners to manage the behavior and activities on Titchfield Hill. They've also given significant effort and attention to the launching of the Neighborhood Watch. So again, while they're not here at this meeting, hopefully preventing crime somewhere else, I still wanted to say the police have been doing a significant job because there's no point in this development if we don't have police participation to make sure that the neighborhood is safe. Finally, we get to the AIC updates. Now, these are the promises that I made in the last meeting. So the first one is the one that we all know and love, which is talking to the Water Commission. However, because I have some updates on this one, I'm going to jump to the other ones first. The next one was working with JPS, the Jamaica Public Service. As you know, the Jamaica Public Service promised last meeting to help us to find a way to make sure that Titchfield Hill was not in disarray as it is now. This is the situation of the wires and poles on Titchfield Hill. And we talked about two options. One would be complete underground burial. The other option would be some version of neatening up the poles to look more like this than what it does now. We all agreed in the last meeting that because this is a model project and we want to do this right, we're actually going to push them. We're going to push them for underground. We're going to try to get this thing done properly. So they made some promises. They actually sent engineers to visit Titchfield Hill as per their promise and have begun to map all customer premises to create an accurate diagram which they'll use in helping us to estimate what the cost will be to actually put the utilities underground. This mapping is actually significant because it requires GPS satellites because the last update of their mapping was done in the late 1980s. So you realize that this project is having repercussions everywhere. Suddenly we're getting the GPS to update their maps. Right? So this is the kind of energy that we like. Once we get those mappings back, then AIC has agreed to begin to conceptualize what it would look like to get this thing done properly. We'll then take those concepts back to the JPS for them to apply costing to it. And only when we have the costing done, we'll be able to move forward. Any questions on JPS? No. National Heritage Trust. Listen, this meeting is about transparency and being open. We have found over time that the Jamaica National Heritage Trust is not as equipped as they need to be in order to make sure that our development continues and is successful. Mr. Chris raised a good point, which is there is a Portland Heritage Association, which we're trying to get involved. But really, at the end of the day, taxpayer pay for the National Heritage Trust. Right? So even though this is a Portland issue, we can find a Portland way to solve our problem. Wouldn't it be better our work led to a better National Heritage Trust that would protect the heritage architecture of all of Jamaica? Now what does that mean? I've called them every week. We talk. I've attended board meetings. And the successes I've seen, the biggest success so far is they've actually set up a committee specially to deal with the Titchfield Hill, which they didn't have before. The other issue they're having is trying to create some sort of presence in Port Antonio. Because there is no presence, it requires us and me to call them to get involved in what's happening in Port Antonio. I'm also working with the director of the Heritage Trust to try to further define the JNHT responsibilities. This homework has been more of a challenge than many of the rest of them. And it really is just a question that the Jamaican National Heritage Trust declared Titchfield a heritage site in 1998 and actually didn't put any of the mechanisms in place to make sure they manage what that means. So one of the successes of our work, this group here, is we've actually raised the attention of Titchfield Hill on their agenda, and they're now spending more time than they ever wished working on Titchfield Hill issues. Okay?
One question.
Yes.
The tourism product development company, government agency, has a very nice large extra space office here. And they also work on preserving heritage sites in Portland, including the cenotaph in front of the market. So there could be a linkage between the Heritage Trust and the TBD Corps. They're both government agencies, right?
Yeah.
And there is a lobby office right here in the building at the main building of the marina, and they could share that office.
Yeah, no, office space is actually not an issue because we've actually volunteered to give them office
They
space.
could also share officers, you know.
We volunteered to give them office space, so it's really just a question of getting them to understand the value and importance of Titchfield Hill. 1723 was a long time ago, right? Some of those buildings are the best architecture you can see if you can look behind the current state.
You know, Mark, there are other buildings in the town similar to Monteville. We have one on Harbour Street, we have the old courthouse, thank God that's what we're doing, right? And so on. But there are other buildings that they need to come to Portland now.
Yes.
Portland now, urgently.
Yes, I agree, and we're going to keep pushing them. Using Titchfield, and we'll get them to come here. Before I do the JPS, I just wanted to give a quick update on things happening in the town because of what we are doing. And Mr. Leachin invited the Minister of Tourism down to Port Antonio last week, and he was blown away by what we're trying to do. Now, we all know that the Minister of Tourism and the current Prime Minister are raising Port Antonio as the next big frontier for development. But there's one thing to talk about it, but there's another thing to actually come here, visit, and feel it. Right? That is what we saw with Mr. Ed Bartlett, where we were able to take him through what AIC was doing in Port Antonio, but also take him through what the community, what you in this room have been doing to build Port Antonio. Another happy occasion happened this week, where the top advertising agencies that currently represent Jamaica in the world were actually here. 20 of the account executives from these ad agencies. And we took them on a tour. I dropped what I was doing. I took them everywhere. We started. I showed them our project for Titchfield, showed them the courthouse and everything. But you know what they were most amazed by? Their visit to the Monteville Hotel. So this is very significant. So this is outside people who actually understand the value and importance and beauty of Jamaica's heritage. And this is what's going to drive us into the future. This is what's going to drive us because immediately they were looking for business. Right? They wanted phone numbers, email addresses because they wanted to immediately start selling Port Antonio to their target market. So all that we're doing, the energy we're generating is actually causing more and more people to come to Port Antonio. And when these people come and they take their message back, that's how we're going to see the full benefits of what we're doing. Any questions on everything so far before I get to the Water Commission?
I really want on the police report, Mark.
Yes.
The statistics for Portland at the end of January show that Portland is way ahead of the other 13 parishes when it comes to security of the people in Parish. Compared to last year, January, coming out of the station here, we had 3 homicides. In 2007, in January, we only had 1 so far. And it looks like we are going to break the record, or keep the record. When Smith came the other day, he reported to very impressed.
Yes.
And for us, we are the ones that do uniform, not necessarily uniform, but vocabulary. So we can, within our communities, ensure that we have various violence and various crimes.
made it important that when the Minister of National Security came to Portland, he wanted to talk to us. Right? So in other words, he wanted to be a part of the growth of Portland. And this is unique and one time, and it's a brilliant opportunity when you have Mr. Leachman here and all the work that we're doing. But I just want to acknowledge that there are quite a few people standing outside, and hopefully they can hear me. But I just want everybody to have a look at the growth of our meeting. And everybody who's going to help to make Port Antonio a success. So I want to thank the new faces for coming. All right, everybody, who's ready for the Water Commission update? For the work of this group, we always knew that the Water Commission had a big infrastructure project planned for Port Antonio. Through our work, we discovered that the infrastructure project actually would impact our Titchfield Hill work. We took that back immediately to the Water Commission, took it all the way through all the levels till we eventually got to the Minister of Water, Minister Chan. We discussed the project, the benefits and goals, and we explained to him that he needed to make sure that one, the water project was suitable to meet our needs, and two, that the water project would be done in a timely manner, especially with regard to what's happening on Titchfield Hill. We actually had a very successful meeting where we got commitments on both of those. He is looking over at the plans to make sure he meets our demands, and he is also trying to speed up the work that impacts Titchfield Hill. However, as you know, this meeting is about transparency and bringing everybody up to speed. For those who don't know, who didn't see this in the newspaper, the Water Commission is now giving a date on the project for Port Antonio. I tried to highlight it here. September 2008 is when it should start, and the work will end March 2010. Now, what does that mean for us and our project? No. The answer is not wait. The answer is actually we're going to take advantage of the time we have to make sure we get it done correctly. So all the discoveries we've been making about Jamaican National Heritage Trust needed to get up to speed. Homeowners and police need to have a better relationship. All the efforts to get the Parish Council to figure out good mechanisms to enforce existing rules. This has actually bought us more time. However, we don't want to settle for that. Now that you guys have seen this, now that you know that everyone is watching us and all the ministries, it's up to us to put pressure on the government to further speed this up. I tell you one thing, in the 12 months I've been here, I have not been given a set date by the Water Commission, right? Us pushing and making sure that they're moving along and asking constantly for deadlines has produced this number, which I think we all find unsatisfactory. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Well, now we have the data. So what do we do as a team? We talk to our representatives, whether Darrell Vaz or Minister Rod. We talk to the Parish Council, and we will continue to talk to the Water Commission. But now we're saying September 2008 is a long way away. Yes, there's much we can do in the meantime, but unlike the Port Antonio of old, we're not going to sit and settle for whatever dates you give us. We're going to demand that things be done quicker. And I just wanted to make it clear to everyone that this is the public date. This is the public date that's out there. And I wanted to move on. Mr. Chris, if I could ask if anybody else had a question specifically about the Water Commission and about this plan. Homeowners and residents, you guys are quiet. In this meeting, we're honest. How do you feel about this date?
Why wait till September?
Real timeline is, and how we can help to push it forward. Mr. Brown.
Yes, the challenge mark is whether Titchfield Hill, the improvement in the water and the sewage can be done independently of the larger Port Antonio project.
And that was the promise that we got from Minister Chan, which is a very good thing. We got the promise that he was going to look at Titchfield Hill separately to see how it could be moved up. What I'm doing by putting this date here is showing what right now is the worst case scenario, right? Which is if even moving it up just means doing it first, and it still starts September 2008. We should all understand that that's the date that's out there, and we're just going to keep pushing.
I am really disappointed, and it's really sad that no senior officer from Water Commission is here. I am more than disappointed. Why? We have been having meetings over the past 5-6 years. And every month there is a promise that the project will start next week. and it's going to start next month. And honestly, I have I don't even sure that I want to believe that it's going to start in September. Until I see it actually start, then I will not even tell anybody that I will see a deal saying that Water Commission is going to start this project in September of this year. But I'm really disappointed, and I'm sure that I'm talking to more than 90% of Portland, especially Portland.
Yes,
to clarify, Kelly, the print you showed us on the screen is an international tender by the European Development Bank to call in tenders to do the phase 2 of the project. It's a very large project of $80 million US. Okay, the largest we've ever seen in Portland of that kind of development. So that's the tender calling the contract. Phase 1 is in progress. It's happening before our eyes right now. But there is a very important document signed by not by Mr. Kelly, but by the people of Portland as a memorandum of understanding with NWC in the National Water Commission to have meetings with the people of Portland on a regular basis, signed by the Portland Chamber of Commerce, signed by the Council Mayor, signed by the Member of Parliament, signed by citizens organizations. The document is here, and we have failed, and we're asking for your support.
Okay.
And the support of AIC, because we very clearly, the Portland Chamber of Commerce is the secretariat of this committee, called the ANC and Library Monitoring Committee. The project manager is Randy Maxwell.
Yes.
And you know him.
I know him very well. But Mr. Chris, can I just...
Not the meeting, they're not had meetings.
Yes.
I'm asking for your support now.
To pull them on
President
meetings.
Randy,
Yeah.
called him today, I opened him the other day, and he's going to come and tell us what is happening.
Yes, I appreciate your comments. Just so that everyone knows, we have been in full contact with everybody from the project manager, including Randy Maxwell, etc. What we're trying to do here, however, is not to sit and wait.
No.
So when we see dates, we react. And that's what this group does differently. When we ask the question, why is this project different than all the other fits and starts we've had? The one answer is because we're involved and we're active. And this is yet another example where we're going to make sure that we stay active and make sure we hold them to whatever timelines they publish.
Yes, I'd just like to comment on that document, because I believe my signature is on that as well. That was done, it's more than 5 years ago, it's more like 10 years ago.
No, 5 years.
Is it only 5 years ago? Oh my, it seems like eternity. But anyway, they've been calling meetings and then they don't have the meetings. And then it goes on for another year and then maybe they hold another meeting and invite, the signatures on that meeting. But what I would say is that right now, we do have a problem with the National Water Commission for starting projects and they never seem to end. And I think there has to be a real, investigation into their capabilities and their organizing of projects. Because it's not this isn't just one project. There's been many, many more, where a road is dug up and it's left dug up for maybe a year. And it never gets filled in again, and the pipe never gets fixed. So is it a problem of finances? We need to know why. I think somehow we have to get to the bottom and say, now look, this has got to be different, let's move.
Perfect. And I think that's the kind of attitude that we're all taking here, right? Which is, we're using Titchfield as an example. Through our project, we're going to learn all the gaps and all the flaws in all the organizations in Jamaica. But guess what? We're going to learn how to improve them, right? And we have to understand this is going to take time, and it's going to take this kind of energy and participation, and this kind of input and factual data and knowledge. So we appreciate it, and we love to have that every time. And I actually see somebody from the Water Commission here. Would you like to speak? Because I wanted to clarify what Mr. Chris was saying was there are two phases of the Water Commission's project. The first phase includes some leakage. I take it that you don't want to stop. I would understand that because I didn't brief you as to what I was going to do.
I don't have a problem speaking though, but you see, there are some aspects of the project that I can't really speak on.
Okay.
And since you're dealing with it from another level, then I wouldn't really speak on it. But there are, Mrs. Goran was referring to some problems that we are having. But I just want to say that the project itself would do a lot of work in Port Antonio, a lot of major work in Port Antonio. So we wouldn't want to spend money doing anything major now until that project has started, and you have gotten a date, which Councillor Kelly was saying he has been getting several dates over the past years. But as you know, with these projects, you have to do the correct design, because it makes no sense you rush and do something that won't last, or you don't get the desired results that you want. So I think a lot of planning has been put in place. There has been a lot of work going on in the town, but no one has seen it because it's not really infrastructure work. But there have been a lot of work. We have done our environmental studies, we have done a lot of design work, and we are doing our leak detection work now. And but there is something going on. It has been going on for the last 2 years. And up to recently, you can see a part of the work that has been done on the road here.
So can I just ask you really quickly? Well, first I want to say thanks for coming, but can I ask you your name?
Richard Williams.
Richard Williams. But thank you so much for coming. But now I'm going to ask you, can we count on you to now be a part of this team? You haven't been to many of the other meetings, is that true?
Well, I've never been to one.
You haven't been to one, so thank you for coming. Can we now count on you to be a part of this team going forward, making sure that we're accurately reflecting the Water Commission's plan and everything?
Sure, I will be.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Just in the interest of time, I actually wanted to move on, but Ms. Biscuit, okay, you have one
I think the Water Commission should have that goes around and check the hydrants, because a lot of leakage are going up into Titchfield. Due to that, sometimes you go to the bathroom, no water.
Okay.
It happens so often. We should check the hydrants.
is leak detection. And when that phase is done, the water pressure will be significantly improved, because apparently, 60% of the water actually leaks. So when that's done, we should all be happy. What we're really trying to do here is get leak detection for Titchfield done before our phase. I think that's what we all are saying, right? But it has to be done. I didn't want to close, but I wanted to ask Duke. We've been having these meetings for 12 months. The food and the coffee and the tea, every single meeting. And I think we need to thank you. I told myself that at whatever point I remembered that, I would bring him in. So, sorry, I just didn't want to remember. Thank you so much. We're at 9:55 right now, so I really wanted to say thank you to everyone for coming and let you know that the next meeting, does anybody know the last Friday in March, the 3rd? Everybody has their homework, your marching orders, and so we'll question you again when you come back. But thank you again for coming. I really appreciate the support and care and time that everyone has put into this. And we should all congratulate